Everyone's been talking about kind of the rough news we've been hearing about the iPhone edition. The sad rumor is it's probably going to cost a lot. Yeah, I knew it was gonna cost a lot. We talked about that before. It was like gonna be $1,000, right? More recent report says it might be even more than that. This leak says that it could range from $1,200 starting price all the way up to $1,400 for the higher end storage configuration. I definitely understand everyone's frustration. We're hearing so much about how Apple's gonna reinvent this phone, implement all these new amazing technologies, but how many people are really gonna be interested in laying down $1,500 for their next iPhone? Now, there's one thing we can always count on, and that's that the Apple sheep never really have a limit to what they're willing to spend money on. iPhones over the years have gotten a little more expensive, and recently with the release of the iPhone 7, more people now own the Plus model of iPhones than the standard version. So people are willing to spend a lot on their iPhone. I think Apple's taking advantage of this fact. They understand that a ton of people out there are going to buy this iPhone and essentially not let anything stand in their way. I'll have to admit I'm one of these people, but that's primarily because I review it for this channel. I think it's important to you guys that I stay up to date with all things Apple, as I am the Apple sheep, and you guys want to know if spending all this money on products like this is worth it. That's completely understandable. So at this point, it's not even a question of if I'm getting it, it's definitely a yes, but the question is, can this new price point for an iPhone be the new standard? Can Apple keep going through with selling phones at this high price point and retain their fan base? Well, in this most recent leak, we heard that the reason Apple is kind of pushing the price point of these iPhones is not necessarily because of the components themselves, it's to keep the demand lower, because Apple is still designing a 7S and 7S Plus that, by the way, we know very little about. No one's really leaking that or talking about it very much, but those two really cool iPhones are still coming out this year, hopefully with glass backs, and I think Apple is really counting that a lot of people still need to be interested in those models. Even though this iPhone edition is going to steal the show, it's going to look great, everyone's going to want that one, they need to discourage a lot of their fan base from actually wanting it. And I gotta hand it to them, if you are going to make a product that's that cool, with all these new revolutionary features, this fresh new redesign, you want people to not have demand for it, raising the price is actually the best way to do that. Apart from removing Touch ID, or not including wireless charging when it ships out. Oh yeah, that's happening. But if you want to know my personal take on the matter, I don't think that this will be the new standard price of iPhones in the future. I'm not saying that iPhones are going to stay the same price as they are now. As we saw with other phones this year, like the Galaxy S8, price points are actually going a lot higher. When you ask for these edge-to-edge displays, and when you ask for waterproofing and better battery and the better cameras and the better displays, all of that starts to stack up, and I can understand that we are willing to spend a lot of money on these devices because we need them. We use them on a daily basis, and I think my iPhone is likely my most used Apple product out of everything I have. It's very hard to say that's not a crucial part of my ecosystem. In fact, it's the core. So I start to understand if I have to spend a lot of money to make sure that my core center of my tech ecosystem is very powerful and capable, and clearly the rest of the market is too, because the Galaxy S8 is selling super well despite it being more expensive than the iPhone 7 is now. So I'm anticipating that maybe the iPhone 7S's this year, perhaps they will be the same price, just to kind of attract people into buying that other model that's not as good looking, but it's still a capable smartphone. But I'm anticipating next year, when we're looking at the 2018 iPhone lineup that has 3 or 2 different versions of these edge-to-edge displays, the OLED capabilities, all of them built in with wireless charging. Once we start pushing that boundary, you might see these standard cost iPhones raise up a little bit, more along the lines of where the Galaxy S8 is today. The big struggle I think Apple is going to face this winter is people are going to be comparing the iPhone edition to the Galaxy S lineup and the Galaxy Note lineup, of course, even though they're in very, very different price ranges, with the S8 starting within the $700 region, and if the iPhone edition starts at $1,200, it's going to be kind of a joke comparing the two. It's like maybe the iPhone's better at a couple things, but the Galaxy S8 is also good at a couple things, and it's like half the price. Where I don't think Apple is really designing this iPhone edition this year to be their flagship phone, which I know a lot of people don't agree with. A lot of people are saying that this is the primary phone, this is what Apple is shipping towards, but it sounds like more recently with the manufacturing struggles, the hardware struggles, this is meant to be a special edition anniversary celebration of the 10th year of the iPhone. So Apple just went all out. They took all their technology, they blew it all on one thing, and it's an added bonus for Apple sheep. It's not necessarily supposed to be what they expect everyone to buy. So if the iPhone 7S is in the $600 range, and it turned out that the iPhone edition was actually cheaper and it was only $1,000, not a lot of people would be interested in buying the regular 7S. Those prices are way too close. So Apple, in an effort to make people more interested in buying the 7S, and to only let the extremely committed afford the iPhone edition, they're gonna make sure there's a bit of a gap there with the prices. And to be honest, honest, $1,200 is still not completely unreasonable, given we have a lot of people out there that are willing to spend $900 on their iPhone. That's not uncommon these days. They buy the fully maxed out versions. And again, this price point may be completely justified if they include AirPods with the purchase. If that's the case, then I totally understand the price, because you're getting a $1,000 smartphone with a $200 pair of really good wireless AirPods. To me, that's a tad more justifiable. Yes, it's a very expensive smartphone, but Apple's fan base is so loyal to that brand that they will pay anything for it, including me. So expect to see an unboxing when it gets here, which could be December, could be October, we don't know. All I know is I am going to be up at midnight when the pre-orders go live, likely live streaming it to this channel, trying to get that first batch of iPhones so that I get it really soon. Wish me luck. This is your Apple Ship here, and I will see you in the next one.